Lord Jesus, and a very warm welcome to today's episode of the Youth As program. My name is Christine Masharia. Today we discuss finding and fulfilling of purpose. It is said that the two most important days in a man's life is the day that you are born and the day that you discover why. The greatest tragedy in a man's life is not death, but a life without purpose. Miles Monroe said. Motivational speaker and author Les Brown said that the graveyard is the wealthiest place in the earth. Reason being, this is where you find unfulfilled hopes and dreams. This is where you will find books that were never written, songs that were never sung, discoveries that were never shared, and cure that was never discovered. All because someone was too afraid to take the first step, keep with the problem, or was not determined enough to carry on with their dream. Now, God's will for us is that we should all fulfill the purpose for which He created us for. God does not create junk. He created you for a purpose. And this purpose is to be fulfilled. Otherwise, your life will not be termed as effective and of value. Now, some people say that Jesus died too early, at the age of 33 and a half years. But the truth is, He only died after He had fulfilled His purpose. And that this should be every man's life, that you should only die after you fulfilled your purpose. Now, you're not successful if other people say you are. Neither are you successful if you fulfill what other people expect you to. You're only successful if you fulfill your God-given purpose. Now, having said that, fulfillment and discovery of purpose is no easy feat. And that's why today we'll be having a discussion with one of us to just find out how his musical journey has been and what he has, the lessons that he has learned all through that. So a very warm welcome to you, MC Joe.
Thank you very much, Christine.
I'm sure viewers would want to know who you are, what you do.
Okay, my government names are Johnson Mwaniki. I'm a fourth-year student at Daystar University, majoring in public relations. And I'm also a businessman.
You're also a businessman.
Yeah.
Do you do music as well?
Yeah, I do music.
As a calling or as...
As a calling.
As a calling.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we would want to understand. How has your journey been? Perhaps you could begin by telling us, where did you start?
Okay, I started my musical journey back in 2003. But subconsciously, I can say that it's something that has been in my blood. It's something that has been there, because I remember when we were young, I used to compose some funny songs. Like, for example, when a sibling has done a mistake, I would compose a funny song about how, explaining how the mom will come and beat him or her. So subconsciously, music has always been there, but consciously, I started in 2003, and this was after a friend of mine who told me 3 times, different days, that one day I'm going to become a musician.
Right.
The first time he told me, I ignored. The second time I ignored. But the third time, I perceived that this guy is being used by God, to enable me to discover my purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would imagine, because you say you started singing from a very young age, before you even consciously started doing it.
Yeah.
I believe that it came from a point of passion.
Yeah, it came from a point of passion, because the reason this guy kept on telling me that one day I will become a musician is because every time that I was free, when we are having breaks, when we are having lunch, games time, anytime that I have free time, you could always find me singing.
Yes.
Yeah. So this guy discovered, he's the one who discovered. Then I never used to think that one day I can become a musician, but I used to admire musicians, because I used to think they were doing a great job.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I know that most people ask themselves, yes, I'm supposed to live purposeful life. But how do I discover my purpose? Well, passion is one of the ways that you discover your purpose rather, because you'll find that your heart and your mind is drawn towards something. Most likely than not, the Holy Spirit is telling you something. Sometimes it's what people appreciate about you. Like what MC Joe said is that a Muslim friend of his used to tell him, you know, you can sing, you can sing. He told him 3 good times. So that's one of the ways that you can do that. Sometimes it's through the experiences that you have gone through in life. Most of the foundations that we see people starting nowadays is because of something they struggled with.
True.
You know, for some people who perhaps have gone through rape or have gone through abuse, most of them will form foundations that help people heal. So if you want to know what purpose God created you for, you can look at these things. Look at what you love doing most. Look at what you value. Look at your goals in life. Look at what people appreciate about you. And also look at the experiences that you have gone through. Something I would like to say about purpose is that it has, what is driving you towards it should be something more than just money. Because if you find that what you want to do, the main driving force is money, that is just ambition, not purpose. Purpose is not meant for your own benefit. Purpose is meant for the benefit of other people outside of yourself. So let's continue, Joe. So you met this guy and he told you that you can sing. So when would you say that you deliberately started singing? I know at some point in high school, people would go playing games and then you'd be left. Tell us about that and how you came to actually start writing your own music.
Okay. After now, the guy told me for the third time that you're going to be a musician one day. I decided to get serious. So I went and took a book and a pen, and I tried to write music, but it wasn't coming through. It was very hard. And I remember those days the urban gospel musicians weren't that many. So I used to know Rafton, Henry Mtuku, Mary Mary, and a few other more. The gospel music industry wasn't that big. So after I tried to write the rhymes and they couldn't come, I paused. Then I decided, let me pause for now, and I will come back at a later time and continue. So the following year, when I was in Standard 7, I heard that there is a guy who had come to our school. He was a newcomer and a Tanzanian national. So and he was in Standard 5. So I was like, if this guy is in Standard 5, because I heard that he had an album, a whole album of 11 songs. If this guy is in Standard 5 and he can do it, what makes it hard for me? Yet I'm a senior, I'm in Standard 7. So that's when now I decided to compose myself, and during games time I used to go to the dormitory, then tuck myself inside the blanket, and the whole time I was just trying to come up with rhymes. But it wasn't that easy. But at least after some time, I was able to come up with some compositions. But now the problem was that it used to sound similar to other songs. So I continued like that until now. I started coming up with my own composition. But now, they started coming supernaturally. Like when I'm just relaxed, not expecting anything, a tune just comes. Then I used to practice, sometimes 30 minutes, most times more than 1 hour, because those days we never used to have phones in school. So there was nowhere to record. So if luckily I have time and I replay the tune in my mind for like 1 hour, it would stick. But if the time isn't there, sometimes I used to forget. So I think that's how now the breakthrough now came.
That's why you'd say that you actively started, doing music. And I like what you said, that in school while other people were playing games and they were out there with their friends.
Yeah.
For you, you'd go to the dormitory, tuck yourself in the bed,
Yeah.
and just go and just start forming rhymes and
Yeah.
singing. And that's what purpose does. Purpose defines your goals and your priorities. When you discover what God wants you to do, your life changes. You stop focusing on what everybody else is doing. You stop wasting your time, spending time with the wrong company.
Yeah.
Anything that does not help your purpose grow, you start to change it. And that is what purpose does.
Okay, let me add something. So, from that time, my entire primary school years, during games time, we used to go and sit somewhere with my friends. Like the other guy was in Standard 5, the musician, and we could just talk about music the whole time. While other guys are playing, us we were discussing about music.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to fulfill your God-given purpose, you must be willing to sacrifice something. For you, it was sacrificing time with your friends and playing football and all of that so that you could achieve your dream. And that is what every one of us needs to do. So you start writing rhymes and they sound like other people's, and then God helps you miraculously
Yeah.
to start forming your own sound, yes?
Yeah.
So would you tell us what happened after that? Say after primary school or after high school. Tell us about, say, the first time you were ever able to present your music before a crowd so that people could hear what God was speaking through you.
Okay, so here I was. The breakthrough had already come. I was able now to compose my own songs. I composed so many songs. Even there are some songs that I haven't released. The choruses came during that time in 2004.
Wow.
An example is Masa, the one that I did with Bruce Newton. That chorus came during that time in 2004. So now I was able to compose my own music, but now presenting was an issue. First thing, I wasn't sure how the school chaplain would take it, because I was using rap, and previously I had not seen anybody else who was doing a presentation in the chapel using rap. The other thing is that before I used to stammer a lot, but now, though I wasn't stammering that much, but I wasn't that sure of how I will start, like introduction, because you know when you're presenting, you need to do a small introduction.
Yes.
So I started like planning to present every Sunday. Like on Monday, I'm saying this Sunday I'm going to present, but by Saturday evening, I've already changed my mind.
Yes.
So from 2004 April to December, it was the same cycle. Like Monday, I was like, this Sunday I'm going to present. Saturday night, I have already postponed to next one. So when I was in now during the December holidays, I decided to test myself with a small crowd at our rural home.
Yes.
So and most of them used to be relatives and neighbors.
Yes.
So I knew that they won't be harsh to me. So I decided to do a cover of a different song, and the reception was so good. So they gave me encouragement.
It shocked you, yes?
Yeah. So the following year, when I came back to school, now 2005, I was like, this Sunday I'm going to present. First Sunday, second Sunday, first month, second month, third month. Now in April, I was like, now this time I must do something during the tuition holidays, because in standard 7 and 8 we used to remain like for 2 weeks during the tuition.
Okay.
Now the last Sunday of April, I was like, now this time I must do something. So this is what I did. I got two other friends who also are aspiring to be musicians. So we practiced, and one of them was to do the introduction, the hardest part, the thing that I perceived to be the hardest. Then the second one would start us off. Then I will take it and finish. So yeah, we practiced during the week. Sunday came, we wrote the presentation paper, and I was called. So we go to the stage. These guys weren't starting the way we had planned. So I had no other option than to start off. And the performance was so good. I did my own raps, but the chorus we did a song that used to be called Yesu Nani You Mwema, Yesu You Mwema.
Yes, I know this song.
So the reception was so good.
Yes.
Like when we went back to school, everyone was congratulating me. So I was motivated. Now, and from that time, I think I used to present every Sunday.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's the amazing thing about God. See, when what God calls for, He also provides for. So yes, before you were stammering, but because God had already formed a purpose for you, that you'll be standing in stages, you'll be singing to the people, and that people's lives will be transformed. He had to take that stammering away.
Okay.
Otherwise, you would not have been able to do it. And even the fear that you had to stand before people, God also had to take it away. Otherwise, how would we ever get to hear your music? And that's the amazing thing about God. If God calls you to do something, don't be afraid. Because most of the times, just like MC Joe here, sometimes you wonder, will people listen? How will people receive it? Will people accept me? But see, whenever God asks you to do something, He has already provided a way out. He already knows the hearts of people. He knows what they will accept and what they will not accept. So it is important that whenever God has called you to a particular purpose, don't try to change it to be somebody else. If God has called you to do rap, don't go doing something else, because the grace for you to prosper in that aspect may not be there, because that's not what God called you to do. So I'm glad that, eventually you were able to gather the courage and be able to stand before people and present, and just to see your music transform lives. And I just thank God for that. So now I know that you're a recording artist, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you please tell us, how is it that you are able to at least record your first track? How did that go with the international market? Was it received? Was it received within the Kenyan market? How did that go?
Okay. When I completed my high school, that's the first time now we go to the studio and recorded our first song. It was a collab with a certain friend of mine called Bobby that I met in high school.
Yes.
So we did this song. It wasn't that quality. So, but it was good because it was received well in our circles. Like in the church that I used to be during that time, it was received so well. So we did the video of the song. Some guys, some NGOs sponsored the song, but still it wasn't that quality that could be played on radio or TV. So I can say 2010 December, that was the first time now I got to the studio to record my first song. So I started recording in 2010 December.
All right.
Yeah.
So how did it go with your first song out? I mean, the one that was good quality at least. What would you say happened with that?
Okay, 2011, I had now gained some experience like in music. So, and got to a better studio. So we recorded Fresh Light. The song, the quality of the song was good, everything was good, and I released the song, the audio of the song. So it was received well. It was played in both here locally and international, because there was a time it was in the charts, Homeboys. It was played on Ghetto Radio and other different radio stations.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there is a performance recording we did for a show that used to be called Get Lifted on K24.
Okay.
So the video, they kept on playing the video over and over and over, but the song, we never did a real video. It was just that performance. So that was my first song that got me now to the mainstream.
Okay, so you're getting into the mainstream.
Yeah.
I understand that there is a point in your life that a woman of God prophesied something over you and over what God had called you to do and how that was going to work. Would you please tell us about that and tell us how that was a challenge for you and what happened in that circle?
Yo por destino. Dada, kwenye dhambi umekorogwa, kaka pombe kwa mitaro unarokotwa. Hati maisha imepotoka, unapokwenda ila unapotoka. Acha nikushow ile kitu unahitaji maishani ni nini. Wacha nikushow, wacha nikushow. Kama uko kwenye dhambi toroka, majaribu yakikuja toroka. Kitu unafaa kufanya ni toroka, toro 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 toroka, toro 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 toroka, toro 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 toroka, toroka 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 toroka, toro toro toroka, toroka 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 toroka, toro toroka. Ni maisha ya dunia mazi ogopa, chenye naza kwambia saizi okoka. Mungu maishani mwako hawezi tukuka, na kwake utaburudika. Kanka ra aniguruka ruka, panda panda shuka teremuka, zunguka zunguka cheki cheki, Yesu ameshinda sana. Wacha nikushow ile kitu unahitaji maishani ni nini. Wacha nikushow, wacha nikushow. Kama uko kwenye dhambi toroka, majaribu yakikuja toroka. Kitu unafaa kufanya ni toroka, toro 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 toroka, toro 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 toroka, toro 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 toroka, toroka 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 toroka, toro toro toroka, toroka 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 toroka, toro toro toroka. Watakafanya mambo mazuri mazuri, lakini kufanya kinyume imekuwa desturi. Pia Paulo alijuta kaka, usijalie wahitaji neema, kutoboa isafari. Wacha nikushow ile kitu unahitaji maishani ni nini. Wacha nikushow, wacha nikushow. Kama uko kwenye dhambi toroka, majaribu yakikuja toroka. Kitu unafaa kufanya ni toroka, toro 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 toroka, toro 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 toroka, toro 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 toroka, toroka 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 toroka, toro toro toroka, toroka 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 toroka, toro toro toroka. Hello yo.
Okay, when I was in standard 8, I started desiring to become an international musician. So during my high school years, I was preparing myself to become an international artist. But now in 2011, during a certain Bible study that we used to have with Carol Jacobs, Pastor Laura, those days she was just a minister. She joined us for the Bible study. That was the first time that I encountered, like, most of the things that I had been desiring were confirmed.
Okay.
So she told me God wants to take me to the international, but he insisted that I should start locally first. Then I will go to the international. So I recorded other songs in between, but they weren't that quality. So I continued recording, but now because I was focused more on the international, and I forgot about the local. So it reached a point where I released Jesus Friend. I did the video. It got nominated for Gospel Music Awards in Italy. Then it was played in different international platforms. So now I became a big artist abroad, but few guys knew me in Kenya. Like my music would get played abroad, but in Kenya, it wasn't getting that
Much airplay.
that much airplay. So, and these guys used to frustrate me, like because for me, all my songs were done in English. It was very hard to differentiate whether this is a Kenyan artist, is an American artist. It was very hard.
Yes.
So these guys, so when the local guys frustrated me, I decided now to focus on international.
Yes.
But now, I remember there's a time I went to a tour in UG. I think that was my turning point because I was exposed to different things. So when I came back, I remembered. Sometimes I used to remember. Yes, I was supposed to go international, but it wasn't supposed to be the other way around. I was supposed to start here in Kenya, but now I was trying to use the shortcut, which at the end it never worked because it became hard because guys used to invite me for shows like in different places, but they were expecting me to cater for my own transport
outside of the country. Yes.
yeah, and accommodation, and it was hard.
Yes.
So, and I used to get so many inboxes of guys wanting to work with me from all over, even in the States. But now, even other guys requesting for me to help them, send them money to record, because the way the picture they had about me was different, because I never had all that money.
Yes.
Yeah, because even in my own country, I wasn't that much big. I was just big in my circles, like guys who went together to school together in primary, in high school, university. So 2015 now, after I did that tour in UG, and I came back, I started. I used to be very rigid. It was very hard to tell me, yeah, you guys, try this, try to add some Swahili in your songs. So after I came back, I even started singing. It was hard for me to sing, and I never believed that one day I can be a good singer. I used just to know rap, and most of the time, if I have a rap song, I used to look for someone to sing the chorus, because I never believed that I can pull it. I used to know the only thing that I can do better is just rap.
Okay,
so
just before you tell us what happened with the turnaround, I just want to make a mention of what you just said, that a woman of God prophesied to you, and she said you needed to start locally and then go international. And that is what God does with us. He will always instruct us. The purpose remains, but the way to get there will always change from time to time. And when God instructs you, if he tells you, say, for example, go to Dandora, or I want you to start a ministry in Nakuru, or wherever he leads you, that's where you should go. Because what happens is, if God is telling you to go to Nakuru, and you decide to go to Kisumu, the grace for you to prosper in Nakuru is not there. So what happens is frustrations come. And like you said, yes, you are famous. The international market knew you. But as far as your pocket was concerned, there was nothing to show for it. They may have been listening to your music. You even got awards. But even those there was not really anything tangible for you to show. But it's because, in a way, you were trying to circumvent God's process for your fulfillment of destiny. Go on.
And I think that it was because I was rigid at that time, and the local guys frustrated me. So I decided, now let me go the other way around.
Okay, so tell us your journey from the turnaround. So you started singing,
so
then what happened?
I started singing, but still I used to do English R&B songs.
Okay.
So I discovered I can sing. So the 2016 I did my first rap sing song. It's called Gonna Make It. I was like, yeah, I can sing. So after that 2017 now I recorded a Kiswahili song, because I never used to know that I can rap in Kiswahili very well in Kiswahili. So after I did the song, it was nice. Guys loved it. And now I believe that there is nothing I can't do right. From that point, I believe that I can do anything with Christ who strengthens me.
Wow.
So in the same year, that's when I recorded Masa with Bruce Newton. Shout outs to him. So I sang, and the song was good, and from there I changed, I rebranded,
Right.
because now I remember when I was used to when I was doing rap, my friends could tell me, yeah, this song is dope, but we can't understand, we can't hear, because rap is fast.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm trying to do songs for these guys to understand, but it's like it's hard for them to understand. So I decided to rebrand and start singing in Kiswahili first, and focus on my local.
Start locally, like
start
God
locally.
had told you to. Yes.
Yeah. Then from there,
You can go international.
yeah, I can go international.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did your life change? Is once you did the Swahili song, could you say that your airplay within the country increased? Would you say that maybe, I know the purpose for your song is not just making money, but I mean it costs money to do music.
Yeah,
so it's
money.
nice if you can at least get something from it as well. So would you say that at this time there was something for you to celebrate? Did your circumstances change as far as the finances were concerned?
Yeah, when I did this song,
The Swahili song.
yeah,
you
it
did
was
with,
different.
Bruce Newton.
It was different because it was played in different places, and something it fulfilled. Though I can't say that it brought money, but it fulfilled something in my life, because I remember during those days it was hard to balance between academics and music.
Yes.
Because for me, number one is music, then
Academic second.
yeah, academic second. So I remember after we released this song, there is something. It's like there was a release in my life, and it became easy for me even to concentrate on academics.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can't say it brought that much money,
Yes.
but it did something good
Okay.
in my life, and yeah, and from there now, I could now sing confidently.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say, okay, just tell us, because maybe I'm just speaking for you and I'm not sure of what I'm saying. Would you really tell us what your main purpose for what you're doing in music is? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to see happen? Or what do you want to see happen in someone's life once they've listened to your music or once they've watched your life? What would you say you want people to take out of it?
Okay, the first thing is the message. When I'm doing a song, most of the time I'm thinking about the other person, because for me, I do music. My primary purpose is to change lives. Like there is someone out there who is supposed to listen to my music and get something out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far, are you able to perhaps? Do you remember of someone at some point through your journey that has ever come to you and told you, you know what, MC Joe, I listened to your song, I was going through this and this happened, or this message really changed my life? Is there a testimony, a story, someone that's ever told you something like that?
Okay, I can say that my music, my my grace is in evangelism, and that's why when I get an invitation to go and sing in a club, I will go. I've been to different places, but afterwards, guys usually come and tell me the music has ministered to their lives. Because I remember there was this time I was launching a video at a certain club in town, and after the launch, different guys came to me. I remember even a bouncer, and he was like, "Yeah, the music has ministered to me." And such kind of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is this tour that you had wanted to do in Kenya and then go throughout Africa and
Yeah.
perhaps to Europe afterwards.
Mm.
Could you please tell us what happened with that?
Okay, so for a very long time, I think since 2013, I was desiring to do a tour, a successful tour, in terms of music and in terms of souls. So in decided to start. So I launched it here in church. Then it was successful, and the next episode was supposed to be in Machakos.
Mm-hmm.
So before even the launch, I had used some money,
Okay.
some money to prepare for everything, and then we were selling tickets. Then all the money that we got from the launch, I put it in the preparation for the Machakos edition, putting in mind that I had, even before, I had used my own money to plan. So we did the first one. I learned so many things. It was interesting. Then now we went to Machakos. Here it was cheap because sound was available. Most of I think the only thing we hired was the DJ, the turntables.
Okay.
So in Machakos, we had to hire things and transport, to hire cars. So I remember after the show, the money wasn't enough. The money that we had gotten from ticketing in the Machakos show wasn't enough. So it was a very low moment. I think it was the lowest moment in my music, because this is something that it was in my desire to do, to win more souls.
What was your target? How many souls
100. I remember the launch. Every show I was targeting like 100 guys to give their
100
lives.
souls.
The first show, no one gave
Their
no.
lives to Christ.
The second show, no. So I was like, I started doubting myself. Like, was it God's will? Like, guys ain't getting saved the way I expected.
Yes.
So, and then now, after the show, guys were looking at me to pay bills. So I had no other option than to call home and request for money. Because I remember my dad had to transfer money from I think he called someone, because at that time he never had all the money that I needed.
So he had to borrow so that he could assist you pay the bills.
Sure. It's like he borrowed to pay the following day. So as I was going home, I just knew that music, I think it's over.
Wow.
Because initially, music needs a lot of money.
It
Initially,
does.
we had invested a lot of money.
It does.
And now we've invested, even my dad had given me money to prepare for the tour.
For the tour, yes.
I also invested my money to prepare for the tour. And now we have used everything and we are left with bills.
Okay.
So I came back home very low, and I could tell by the climate that my music
It wasn't going where you wanted, and that must have been very disappointing. And that is what happens when you're trying to work out your purpose. It's not always easy.
Yeah.
There are lots of discouragement that come, with trying to fulfill purpose. And for you, of course, I'm sure the money, yes, was disappointing, but the fact that the first show, no one gave their lives to Christ after the show, then
Yeah,
the
and the
second
second
one,
no
the
one
same
gave.
thing,
Yeah.
that must be very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But the good thing is when a purpose is from God, regardless of the many hurdles that you face, in the end it still triumphs because God cannot fail.
Yeah.
He cannot fail. His purpose for your life cannot fail. Would you please tell us what you're doing now? Because as I know that there was a season where you went through discouragement, and at some point you took a break from music. So now I would want to know, is it something you still want to pursue?
Okay, now after the tour, I discovered that in order for me to fulfill my purpose, I need money. So now I decided to take a break from music for a while, and now I concentrated on investing in knowledge. Because I remember I bought books, I borrowed books from the library. I was, for that season, I was just reading constantly. Because now I discovered I need money to do this, to complete this tour. I need money to do good music. And it's something, because it's something that in my heart. So after that, I started trying different things, like just to be settled, because I knew even if I get some small cash to do one song is not usually that enough, because you release a song today, you've used money. After 2 months, you're expected to release another one, even though the first one hasn't yet broken even. So right now, I can say I'm at a better place.
Okay. But you haven't given up on your dream.
I haven't given up on my dream, and I'm planning from next year to continue with my tour. But the first 2 shows, they made me network with different kind of guys. And after, and I remember this time that I was investing in my knowledge, I was also researching about events. And right now, when I get back to events, to the tour, it will be a little bit easy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what purpose does. Purpose turns mistakes into miracles and disappointments into testimonies. I know one day you stand on a stage and you will encourage someone who at some point in their lives was disappointed, discouraged, but because what the driving factor, like we said at the very beginning, was more than money, then they kept at it.
Yeah.
And what would you say as your last words to someone who is out there, who is trying to pursue purpose, but they feel discouraged, they feel as though this is not working? Is this what you called me for? What would you tell someone in just a few words before we close?
First thing that I wish I had known earlier was that sometimes purpose, because for me I was doing music was the first thing. So I was like, I'm doing this music to get money to continue doing more music. From now the process from the songs that I release. But I never knew that it was wise to look for another alternative, where now you can get finances to pay, to enable, like there are some things like sometimes you need money so that your purpose, you can get going. Like for example, in music.
So what would you tell someone who is discouraged, who is trying to pursue purpose? Because I want to believe, yes, you wanted to get money, right? That's what you said. But was that your primary aim?
Yeah, it wasn't my
That
primary.
wasn't your primary aim. And I want to believe that's the factor that is pushing you to keep going, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you may look for other ways to make money, but you still want to influence people's lives, get souls to come to Christ through the gifting that is in you. So say someone is disappointed today, what would you tell them to do?
I would just tell them to not to give up. And the reason be, like for me in the past, I've tried to give up, But one motivating factor is that this is my purpose. This is my God-given purpose. So if I don't live up to it, during the judgment day, I will have question to answer to God. Like, I gave you this talent, you ignored. There are some people who are supposed to be changed by that ministry, but because you never showed up, maybe they went to hell. So I've tried to, different times when I feel like giving up, and I remember that it usually gets me back to my feet. Like, you're not doing this something for you. You're doing it for God. So there's no reason of giving up, because challenges will be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So thank you so much for sharing your story. And I want to speak to you. Maybe you feel as though it's too late. You feel like it's too what you are involved in is what God wants you to do, but just keep going. And I would like to say that in a way, God changes the way he does things. He might tell you to go here today, but then he wants you to do something different the next time. So keep listening to the Holy Spirit. Let him direct your path. I would like to take an example of our own pastor here, Pastor Dan. He has the mandate of soul winning. But at some point, we were mostly winning souls on Saturdays in the morning until afternoon. And then it moved from there, and we started doing crusades. We would do crusades over the weekends, just within Eastlands. And then it changed. From there, we started forming fellowships everywhere we went to minister. And then after that, we started having crusades running from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then now, it's just that we have Corona, but we are planning to go to all the cities and the villages. So what I want to tell you is, if you feel that you have a God-given purpose, my encouragement to you is keep listening to the Holy Spirit. Don't listen to him the first time and then you start going on your journey and you decide to do everything yourself. Keep listening in, because God might keep changing and turning you around, but in the end, his purpose will still be fulfilled. So whatever you feel today, even though you feel discouraged as though you're too young or too old, I want to tell you that the purpose God has for you cannot be thwarted. It will triumph if you keep going. I pray that the Lord will watch over you and protect you. Until next time, God bless you.
Come on, just watch and see. I'm gonna be what God said I will be. I'm a wannabe of Christ. Just watch and see. Watch and see. Come on, just watch and see. I know that I'm gonna make it from the bottom to the top. So many blocks on the way, but man, I will never stop. I'ma be what God said I'll be. There ain't no retreat, yes sir. I decree and declare I'm the head and not the tail. I sit on the hill cannot be hidden. Feeling myself, see I can't be defeated. Beaten, cause I'm the team number one, we are leading. Climb, can you see that really? I'm gonna go ahead and get it. Not one, not two, but many. More dollar, Obana, all for the glory of Hosanna. Nimechoka kuwa mtu kawaida. Soon itakuwa nakopesha mataifa. Pesa kwangu itakuwa inabisha. Hodi hodi na mimi naikaribisha. Kisha na haki kisha. I represent kabisa. Advance the great commission. Watu watoke kwa giza. I'm gonna be what God said I will be. I'm a wannabe of Christ. Just watch and see. Watch and see. Come on, just watch and see. I'm gonna be what God said I will be. I'm a wannabe of Christ. Just watch and see. Watch and see. Come on, just watch and see. I'm gonna be what I'm supposed to be. Come on, designed to beat every demon to defeat. See me, I have faith. I'm gonna make it to end. Even though it seems so hard when I look my carnal eye. I can do everything with Christ living me. Every day give me strength till I'm winning, bro. God has not given me spirit of favor, of love, power, self-control. It's okay when I say I'm hot like so, and all the glory goes to God. God has promised me more bigger things that he owns. Even silver gold belongs to to the one who gives us hope. See me, I'm blessing the city and the countryside, you feel me? Everything I touch is blessed when I'm going out and coming. Oh, me chill, let me tell you something. God can bring you up from nothing.
I'm gonna